I really wanted to hit that story. How many of have ever heard of the Wolf Pack? Anybody know the story of the Wolf Pack? Wolfpack Valvano. Wasn't that the coach, Valvano? Yeah. Valvano was the coach of the Wolfpack. If you get a chance, go online and just search Valvano. And there's a story by
Jimmy Valvano.
yeah, Jimmy Valvano, and there's they did a story on him and Thurl Bailey and a lot of the different players that were on that team. And as I watched that story, and I watched it again just recently, I also watched just recently Michael Jordan's story. I watched the story of another guy that was a parachute. He was a guy in Desert Storm that became handicapped because of a jump out of a plane. I watched his story, how he rebounded. And I was actually watching a bunch of these different stories as I was preparing for an off-site training that we did up in Yellowstone with our staff. And as I watched these stories, it hit me just today as I decided, and I don't do that very often, but as I decided to share a little bit of my story, and I watched their stories, I realized, you know what, every one of us, we have a story in the making, all of you. And that's what I started off talking about today. Every one of you in your lives, you have a story. You can look back and you can see exactly what's happened to your life to this point. And the rest of your story is to be written. And as you're here today, learning and growing and becoming, you are in control of what the outcome of that story is. And I love as I was able to watch Jordan and Valvano and that parachute guy and even in my own story, I love as now, after the fact, to listen to those individuals talk about their success. One thing that's very common amongst all of us in that success is the fact we kept pushing against the rock. We kept looking for more information. We kept putting forth the effort. We kept identifying, we kept considering all the different options. We kept applying the different things that certainly you guys are learning. And at the end of the day, through that perseverance and through that hard work, in every one of their cases, now today they're known as a success. And everyone will tell you there were times they wanted to quit. And the difference that made them successful, and the thing, as opposed to not being successful, is they simply did not quit.